Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Hero Academia Season 3, Episode 19. So yeah, we are getting to this next episode of My Hero Academia as well today, as well as, of course, Marvel Rising Initiation, which I just finished recording. And just as a note, I'm going to say right here, High Score Girl will be tomorrow alongside the new Monday reaction show. So those will coincide. I decided to do High Score Girl tomorrow since it's 2 episodes that I have to catch up on now. With this, I mean, it's only 1, so... Plus, it's later. And it's a priority show, so, yeah. Either way, so we are phasing out of the first stage of the testing for the, provisional licenses. So we're passing on to the second stage now, and I'm surprised by what they did for it. I'm really legitimately surprised by how they're handling who went through and everything. I did not think they would all make it. I really did. I thought only a few would, especially with only 100 people overall. But you know that's going to start being narrowed down now, because you know they're not all going to be able to get those. Because honestly, that would feel like a bit of a stretch. It would feel like a bit of a cop-out to try and do something like that, to give all of them their provisional licenses. Not saying that they don't deserve them, just saying that not all of them should get them right away. I still kind of stand by my initial choices for who should. Definitely Bakugo, definitely Todoroki, Izuku. Those are the big 3, of course, who I definitely think should. And not only just because they're kind of the main characters of the Class 1A, I just feel like they would make the most sense to do so. Bakugo is one of the best in the class, and definitely one of the best improved. The way he's been honing his abilities to do more than just random explosions, the fact that he can now direct his explosive energy in this like beam basically is phenomenal. He's been growing so much, and we've seen it's because of his interactions with these other students, not just Izuku, but his interactions with these other students and everything have been helping him grow. He's becoming a much better person. Yes, he's still angry and everything here and there, but he's been showing that he's willing to put forth the effort to change. His friendship with Kirishima is a big part of that. The fact that he complimented and acknowledged Izuku in the last episode, huge character growth moment. And I've said this many times before, but I do want to say it again. I like to compare Bakugo to Vegeta from the Dragon Ball franchise. Because it's kind of the same thing if you think about it. Vegeta started off as a villain. He was kind of forced into working with the heroes for a common goal, and in the end became one of the heroes. Bakugo started off as an antagonist, a bully, a very violent bully, who would constantly not only just pick on Izuku, but it's very much implied that he physically attacked him many times. So he's kind of seen as this antagonistic villain type character. But he's forced into working with the heroes. Now, he's not an actual villain, of course. He does want to be a hero, so it's a little different, of course. But he's forced into working with people who have a more standard heroic viewpoint than him. As he goes to this school and has to become fellow students with all of these others, including Izuku, the one he's been bullying for so long. And eventually, he's starting to become that hero. Now, here's the difference. Dragon Ball Z doesn't understand progressive development. What I mean is that Dragon Ball Z, it's like, doesn't progress with it. It just happens. When one of the characters gets stronger, gets a new upgrade, gets a new form, it just kind of happens. For the most part, there's no proper build-up to it. There's no proper amount of... what's the word? It's just not... It's not properly explored in a way that makes it feel natural. It's just kind of like, oh, this next villain has to be stronger, so we have to make our hero stronger. Here, let's slap a new power onto them. Let's slap a new form. That's what Dragon Ball Z and Super and all of that feels like, and it's kind of why I've lost interest in the more recent years, because it doesn't feel natural in the way it's paced and the way the characters gain these powers and all. But in My Hero Academia, these characters, both Bakugo, Izuku, all of them, when they're improving and everything, it feels natural because it happens in a very progressive timeline. They start off weak or overconfident or just one note. Bakugo's abilities are very one note. Yes, he uses them in some creative ways, as we saw during his mock battle when he and Ito were taking on Izuku and Ochiko at the beginning of Season 1. Well, actually, that was more during the middle of Season 1, I'd say. Either way. During the mock battle, we saw that Bakugo could use his explosions to launch himself and change his trajectory. We saw him using his intelligence, something that a lot of Bakugo haters seem to just completely gloss over, I notice. Bakugo is canonically one of the smartest students in UA that we know of. He, passed the written exam and everything with flying colors. He was one of the top students at the middle school that he and Izuku went to before this. He's a star student in pretty much every way, and it's not just his intelligence, it's his cleverness. Again, the way he uses his quirk. And the way, as the series progresses, the new things he figures out how to do with it. Like I said, the shooting the beam thing, the explosive beam of energy, that's an amazing concept. And it's implied that Bakugo came up with that idea almost completely on his own. Yes, he probably had some influence gathered from others, from watching others and everything, but it's honestly believable that he came up with the idea on his own and probably used those influences to perfect it. So I really just love what they're doing with his character. And honestly, I think he's one of the best developed characters in all of anime. He's not my favorite from this show, because I'm still not the most... I don't like his personality still to this point, but I'm loving his development and his character and where he's going, and eventually he might become my favorite character, though kind of unlikely because of how much I do love Sue, but it's very possible. But then again, when you really think about all of the characters in this show are just that amazing. They continue to impress me. Even last week with Aoyama, it's holy crap. Even someone like Aoyama, who is kind of viewed as a joke character for most of the show up to this point, even he gets a time to shine. All of these characters have had these really great moments. Even the ones who are still kind of minor in comparison, like Koda, he's not really had a lot of big time to shine, but when we did see him and Jiro working together to take on Present Mike in the finals, that was a big deal. We saw him gather up the courage and use his quirk to be able to win it for him and Jiro. And it was a big moment for him, for his character. And that's what this show does best. It does characters really well. It does the development of them, the characterizations, the progressive growth of their characters and their personalities and their mindsets on things, as well as just making them believable and likable. Even the villains, you just can't help but love them. Shigaraki's, like, insanity and childishness. Himiko Toga just being delightfully insane. Of course, you have to account All for One, who is just freaking phenomenal. But you get the point. I'm not going to ramble on too much more, though, because I do want to get to the episode here. I'm really excited to see what they do for the second stage of these provisional license exams. And so we're going to find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so the second half of the provisional license exam has begun, and it's a rescue mission. I mean, we already were told about that last time, but now we actually get to see more in detail of how it's going to go. There's this group of professional people in distress, basically, who work alongside the heroes in order to train them up to be able to handle this kind of situation. And in this situation, they are the ones handing out and taking away points based on the actions and problem solving of the heroes. So at first it's just simple search and rescue, but now we have Gang Orca leading a group of faux villains into the mix. So now the heroes have to balance out fighting off the villains while continuing to rescue the citizens. And this, as was said, would be difficult even for pro heroes to do. It's a very difficult balance to maintain, and you can understand why. Like, you have to be able to stop the villains while at the same time saving someone. Doing both at the same time would be extremely hard. Because saving people requires confidence, focus, and gentleness. While fighting off villains kind of also requires confidence and focus, but instead of gentleness requires a certain level of strength, of the ability to put yourself out there, basically. So it's a different situation in that one aspect. And it causes the problem here because it's like you have to be gentle with the citizens, but you have to be tough on the villains at the same time. And it's like, how are you going to do that? And how are you going to focus on both at the same time? Now, some heroes, I feel, would have a better chance based on their quirks, of course. This show goes out of its way to say that not everyone, it's even said many times, especially in Season 1, that all men are not created equal, in the fact that quirks sometimes, in some situations, can be heavily unbalanced. One person's quirk might be perfect for this kind of situation, while another's might be extremely bad for it. But the ones who are in the best situation have to be able to work with the ones who are in the worst. They have to work together in order to make the best out of this. And the ones who are in the worst situations have to be able to figure out what they can do with their abilities. Let's go to Mineta. Let's talk about him as an example of this. Mineta's ability, his sticky balls power, this would be good for taking on enemies in certain situations. Because as we saw during the Season 1 attack on UA arc, he was able to use it to, along with Izuku's whirlpool that he created, in order to stick all of the villains together, form them into this giant amalgamation, in order to just keep them stuck together so they can't do anything. See, in a situation like that, Mineta's ability is very useful. And in a situation like this, while his ability can be useful, he has to do it in the right ways, and I feel like he really has to kind of go out of his comfort zone here, because Mineta isn't really he's not really a sharp thinker. He tends to act on impulse a lot of the time. The only time we've seen him act out of actual complex thought is during the finals, when he figured out a way to stop Midnight's ability from getting to him, as well as being able to grab Sero and escape while sticking Midnight in place. And it was, honestly, it was Mineta's shining moment in the show so far. It was his best moment, for sure. But I don't think that's going to work in this situation. So he's going to have to come up with something else, and I think that he's definitely going to need to be one who works with someone. Bakugo has the kind of quirk that is great for battle, for combat. His quirk is not that amazing for rescue, which is why it's good that he has Kamoshida and Kaminari with him. Their quirks, well, Kamoshida's is good, a little better for rescue. Kaminari is not as much, I would think, to be honest. But he's been getting a lot better. He can hone his abilities a little more now, so there's something more to that. But he has others with him who he can brainstorm with if he listens. And we've seen that he is starting to come around to them, especially Kamoshida. So I think he'll need to work with them here. As for the others, it's hard to say. It just depends on exactly how they go about things. Izuku, I think, is probably going to shine here, to be honest. And this is one of the big reasons I think he's going to be one of the ones from UA to move on and to get the provisional license. Especially after seeing this. This is where, again, I feel he is going to shine. Because his ability, his quirk, One for All, it's a great quirk for battle. While Izuku himself has an amazing spirit for rescue. It's kind of what he is basing a lot of his hero journey on. I mean, heck, he wouldn't even be in a hero journey if it wasn't for his rescue mindset. That's how he inspired All Might. That is how he even got into UA. He would have failed the test if he didn't get those rescue points. So, rescue is a very big thing for him. He's not perfect at it, and as we saw, he did have a couple issues on handling this kind of situation. But he does have the drive to do this, and as we've seen throughout the entire series, he makes adjustments when he figures out that what he did was wrong. So, they're really hammering in, like, especially at the end there, with his determined expression after the faux villains enter. It really was telling us that, yeah, this is going to be a big moment for him. It's going to be a big time to shine for Izuku, and he's the main character, so he does tend to have a lot more of those than a lot of the others, but I'm glad that they are still giving the others plenty of times to shine. Heck, Aoyama had his last episode, and he even had another one this episode, just instantly jumping in to help out. That was an amazing thing to do there, and very smart, like the way he handled it. So yeah, I just really like where this is going, and I can't wait to see exactly what they do to combat Gang Orca and the faux villains. In the meantime, tell me what you thought of this episode down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh.